Yeah, we are laying up good stuff. Yeah.
Hey guys, this is Backdraft and welcome to another episode on the Symmetria server. This is episode number 16. Thank you so much for joining me today. Happy New Year and a late Merry Christmas to everybody. I have taken a bit of a hiatus. I was off for about 2 weeks, but now I am back and it is awesome to be back on the Symmetria server. So I spent some time away. I spent some time with my family. I saw everybody, spent some time doing other things like playing some games and just relaxing. I had some time off of work, so that was very, very nice. And it is good to be back to normal and back on the Symmetria server because we have big plans. In this episode, I want to get my forge done inside of the palace, or super smelter, whatever you want to call it. This is a very, very big project. I already have it completely designed out. So this room right here, we're going to transform it into an awesome looking forge where we're going to have a big old super smelter, and in the 2 towers above it, right over here, we are going to be building twin bamboo farms that are going to fuel the super smelter. So we'll never, ever have to add fuel manually to the super smelter, and it is going to be awesome. This is a pretty big project, and I plan to get all that done before the end of this episode. First time I came back to the server after my break, I came back to some awesome Christmas gifts from very, very generous Symmetrians. Right here we have, was AFK at your farm for a long time, just for you. Merry Christmas, Lord Jake Ryan and Honey Bunny. They're the same person, by the way. And for the record, there is over a double chest of gold blocks. I don't know how he had all the time to AFK at the farm to get that much gold. And that's not even all. Check this sign out over here. Check your nether tunnel. Merry Xmas, hope this gets you closer to your gold towers, Fluffy Butt. Oh my god, another double chest of gold blocks. I cannot believe it. This brings us up to over 4 double chests of gold blocks. That means we're only gonna need like a couple more AFK sessions, and then we will be able to replace all our spires on the base. Yes! And the last very, very awesome gift that we got was left at the end of the tunnel, and it doesn't really say who it's from. A lot of people apparently got these, but nobody has been saying who they're from. But anyway, 7 diamond blocks, a netherite ingot, and 32 Merry Christmas cookies. It just says Merry Christmas. I don't know who this is from, but it is very generous. If you are watching this, thank you so much. Last episode, we built our extremely awesome AFK Netherwood Farm, which has been cranking out warped wood like crazy. We did about 2 hours of AFK with this bad boy and got about 13 or 14 stacks of warped wood. And the beautiful thing about this farm is it is completely AFK. So while I am doing work on the rest of my base in this episode, I'm going to load this bad boy up with more bone meal and TNT and just let it whirl and see how much wood we can get. And by the end of the episode, I'll show you guys what we end up with. So we were able to get about a shulker box full of TNT. I went and got a ton of gunpowder from our community witch farm and paid a visit to the shopping district and bought up a bunch of sand. So we evenly distributed that TNT between the 2 dispensers at the top of the Netherwood farm. So I just set up a couple of chests that are feeding the TNT into the 2 dispensers, the one there and the one there. We also paid a quick visit to our community iron farm, the Iron Giant, and collected up a bunch more bone meal, and I was able to set up a double chest down here with a bunch of bone meal to keep this system stocked up for quite a while. So we are going to turn this bad boy on while we work on our forge project. I've quickly popped over to my creative testing world so that I can show you guys the designs for the twin bamboo farms that are going to be in these 2 towers right here. So it's a little noisy in this one because of the dispenser that's going off, distributing the bamboo into a water stream down below, but essentially this is what we have in each of the towers. So we have a couple flying machines that are hooked up to daylight sensors. So these flying machines will go off about twice a day. I think it is technically twice a day, because once it starts getting dark, the daylight sensor, which I actually have set to night mode, the signal strength will start going, and once the signal strength reaches 3, which is around like right before when players can actually go to sleep, This observer will fire off, activating all of the hopper minecarts underneath to start collecting the bamboo, and of course triggering this trap door, which will activate the flying machine and harvest all of the bamboo. So if I set the time right now to about 12,000, then we should be able to see the daylight sensor start kicking in. There you go. You can see it's now a signal strength of 1, and as it gets later and later, the signal strength will grow. If I set it to about 14,000, then the flying machine will kick off, harvesting all of the bamboo, and you can hear the hopper minecarts underneath working to grab it all. It will harvest it all up. The bamboo will then go inside of these hoppers, which will lead in this tower down into a dispenser, which will then drop it down into a water stream and head it over into the forge so that it can be used in the super smelter. So this is the exact same design that's in that tower over there. These are the first 2 farms that I'm going to build in this episode, and then we will get started on the forge, which I'm not going to show you guys. We're going to do that in a time lapse, and I will show you guys the finished product when that's done. I'm super excited. It's going to turn out awesome. So we're back over at the Netherwood Farm. I was just working on the first bamboo farm over on the other side of the base, and I activated the Netherwood Farm thinking I was going to get a lot of wood, and I came over and turned out I had 1 stack after about an hour. And then I came over here and noticed there was a gigantic hole in the side of the tower, and there was a ton of wart blocks and wood and shroomlights and stuff piled up on the farm over here. It was way the heck up there, and I'm just finishing mining all of this out manually because the farm broke. If I circle back around here, you can see that there's a ton of redstone missing out here. I think what happened was, since I was on the other side of the base, only half of the farm was actually loaded, and that completely screwed it up. So lesson learned, if I'm going to AFK this farm, I have to make sure that I am standing next to it and that it is fully loaded. So we were able to fix up the Netherwood Farm, and I definitely think the long-term solution there is to just build an obsidian blast chamber around the central part of the farm so that the TNT has no chance of ever going haywire and breaking the farm ever again. But now we are over at the Twin Towers on the other side of the palace, and this is where we are setting up our bamboo farms. We have this one completely done. We did it on a live stream. It was a lot of fun, and I can kind of break into here right now, and you can see that the bamboo is growing like crazy in here right now. I actually don't have this turned on yet because I don't have this farm hooked up to the central storage, which is in this other tower over here. If we pop in right on the side, you'll see that we have this storage unit right here directly underneath the second farm, which is what's currently in progress. And the way that we're going to do that is we will be transferring the bamboo underneath the base and shooting it up a bubble elevator to the top of the storage unit over here so that all of the bamboo storage is centralized. So we're in the middle of building this one right now. We probably got just a couple, maybe 2 or 3 more things to do. Fill in the walls, put the bamboo in, and then give it a nice test. And that should pretty much be it. Then we'll have these completely done and we can get started on the forge. It's raining bamboo. Hallelujah, it's raining bamboo. I'll never win a Grammy. So it is currently raining bamboo down because we have both of the farms turned on. We have the water stream that carries the bamboo from this farm over to the central storage unit, and everything is working like a charm. So we had a pretty big harvest right here once it switched over to nighttime and then came back. The daylight sensors went off, and all that bamboo is being carried actually right underneath here. This is where we're going to be building some of the stuff for the forge, like the hopper minecart collection systems and a couple other things under here. But you can see the bamboo flowing through these water streams right here. And then if we pop up right over here, I kind of broke into the tower right here. You can see in this bubble vader here, the bamboo is shooting up into the top of this storage unit right here, and it's all collecting in this hopper in this chest right here. You can see there's quite a bit in there already. This is only like 1 or 2 harvests. So yeah, this is gonna crank out a ton of bamboo, and this is all gonna be fed into the forge, which is the next thing we're going to do in this episode. And this is gonna be quite the awesome build, my friends. And we're going to do this one in a 3rd-person time lapse. So it's time to get rid of this dinky little super smelter and build ourselves a nice, big, pretty one. So I hope you guys enjoy, and roll that music. I am so stoked for this room. This turned out super cool. I had a tough time, for those of you who were on my stream when I was designing this, I had a tough time coming up with a cool way to create a little entranceway since it is on a diagonal, but I think this door is actually super awesome. It turned out really, really cool, but let me give you guys the grand tour of the Agrabah Forge. So inside, it's definitely looking a little weathered, and that is on purpose because a forge isn't gonna be perfectly clean and tidy and everything not falling apart. That's just how they are. So we have the Agrabah Palace guards are gonna be coming in here to make weapons and armor and whatever else they may need to protect the city. So we've got our little anvil area going on over here where they would be shaping the swords and all of the other weapons into usable form, I guess is how you would put it, and where they would cool off the hot metal. And we've got it's lava, but I mean, I guess it was just supposed to be a thing of hot water in case they needed to, you know, make it a little bit more warm. If they needed to get something to be, you know, into a fine shape, they would warm it up just a little bit. Over here is the forge itself. We've got the calipers down below where you would hold it out and you know, heat up the metal to it's still super red hot, and then you would pull it over here to the anvil and shape it up. And we've got all of the tools that have been created hanging up on the walls, and these are all usable tool racks done through the armor stand mod, which is really cool. I could actually swap out for anything, really. I mean, anything that you can put into a tool rack you can put up there, but that's mainly for decoration. I'm not sure we're really going to be using them unless I get extra tools that I don't really need. I'll come in here and hang them up for decoration. So right here, this is where all the bamboo is feeding into. And as you can see, we have got quite a bit of it. Now, it looks to be about 2.5-ish double chests, and the bamboo farms are going to run once a day as soon as it starts getting dark before people are able to sleep and harvest all that bamboo. And we get several stacks of bamboo per harvest. And we've already filled up a lot of the furnaces in this forge. There's about 2-ish stacks of bamboo per furnace right now, which is really cool. So circling all the way around the room and actually behind this wall right here, I covered it up because I wanted the room to be a little bit more square. It was really hard to come up with a design that involved a diagonal. It didn't really look very good. So what I ended up doing was just exposing the furnaces on this side of that wall right there, and the rest are hidden. So all of them are completely functional. Everything is set up and ready to go. Right here in the floor, we have the input chest, which is where you put the items you want to smelt, and the output chest, which is where the items will end up. And of course, these chests lead down into the fuel chest. So let me shoot downstairs real quick. This is where the input hopper minecart is going to come out of the floor, and I kind of blocked it off with a little bit of a gate. And it's not super unexpected to see, you know, minecarts going back and forth in a forge, so I thought it was really cool to have it come out of the floor and then go up above all of the furnaces. I think that works out really well. So right here is our first hopper minecart loader. Essentially, this is the same one that I used, just a little bit different from the super smelter that I built for our buddy Duns a little while ago, but I kind of compacted it a little bit. So we just have this comparator in subtract mode taking the input from this detector rail, which is of course taking the signal from the hopper minecart. So I guess I don't really need to explain everything again. I think I explained it a couple times before in some of my videos, but essentially what's going to happen is either when the hopper minecart is full or when the chest is empty, it will be allowed to go. This piston will retract. Now over here we have the same exact thing with the fuel, but there is one little difference. As you can see, this torch is actually off, meaning that this piston should be retracted, but I have a kill switch up top because we're going to have tons of bamboo in the system, and otherwise the hopper minecart is just going to constantly go, and we don't really want that to happen because once all of the bamboo is filled up, we just kind of want it to chill and wait. If we ever need more fuel, we'll turn it back on. So this is what it looks like behind. This is where the input hopper minecart will travel along, and this is where the fuel will travel along. And this right here is where the creepers hang out, I guess. I'm gonna have to light that up a little better. Get out of here, Mr. Creeper. Of course he's not. Oh, wow. I don't know how I hit him around the corner. That was a pretty good shot. But anyway, so you can see back here we have this little redstone line, which is, ooh, somebody fell from a high place. Ooh, RIP. So this is where we have the little redstone line, and that is actually activating that piston so that if we ever want to shut it off, we can. And as you can see back here, we have a bunch of furnaces as well. There's a total of 40 furnaces in this, and it gets the job done very, very nicely. So let me know what you guys think of this design. I think this turned out super, super cool. Obviously, I thought about using the same palette as the rest of the build, but it's a forge and I really wanted it to look used and weathered and lived in, and I think this turned out super awesome. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments. So the lever that I have in the Super Smelter to manually turn off the refueling hopper minecart, I wasn't too crazy about doing that manually, so I added in this extra little circuit that will automatically refuel the system if it is missing fuel. So I have this comparator right here taking a signal off of one of the bamboo hoppers. Right now it's completely full, but if it's not full, essentially what will happen is this signal will be carried down here, which will mean this block is active and that signal will be passed over here and extend this piston. So essentially, if the system is full of fuel, the piston will be extended and the hopper minecart will not be allowed to move, so that it's not always going back and forth and making a lot of noise. So as soon as some of the fuel is in need of refueling, then the hopper minecart will go off and refuel the system. So for example, if I just take a couple pieces of bamboo, you can hear that the hopper minecart is already going off, and I will then put them back, and you will hear that the piston re-extends, which it did. And when the hopper minecart comes back, it will be stuck in place once again. That way, once again, it's not moving around and doing nothing. So there we go. It's back in place. It is completely filled up, but it is not going. So hands off, I don't have to worry about this thing refueling ever as long as I keep the bamboo fully stocked up. Alrighty, I am feeling motivated to do one more thing before we wrap up this episode, and it is finish up the design for our little foyer room here. I don't really know what else to call it. It's just kind of a room in between rooms that's also an entrance. I don't know, foyer. I think foyer works, whatever. But anyway, I have a design for this room, and it's gonna be super sweet. This actually requires me to do an update to the floor as well. I'm gonna be doing a really cool floor in this room, and it's going to bleed over into this room as well to make the floor a little bit more interesting. And I have already designed this out in my creative world, and I think it's gonna turn out super, super sweet. And you know what? Right now, it's currently Sunday, and Sunday is stream day for me, so I think we're gonna do this in a live stream. So hopefully you guys can attend that live stream and watch me do this build live, because it's going to be super cool. And I will give you guys the update when we are done with that. And then I think we're going to wrap it up for this episode. We are fresh off of a live stream where we spent the majority of our time doing some building around the base, including the foyer and a little facelift to the floor. So I'm going to show you guys what we ended up with, and it's really, really cool. So here is the foyer. So I wasn't planning on adding anything too crazy to this room, just kind of keep it open and make it look real welcoming and really bougie as well, because like I said before a couple times, this is a palace and we want to make it look like everything that's in the palace looks really wealthy and ritzy, and you know, looks really, really cool and welcoming and like a place where a sultan would live. So we started off with just some wall decorations. This is something I just kind of messed around with. It's supposed to look like a desert flower sort of thing. Obviously, I can't fit it next to, I can't fit them next to each other because the walls aren't completely symmetrical. This wall's really big, this one's really small. And over here we have matching ones, but once again, the walls aren't big enough to mimic the exact design. So I just kind of came up with a few unique designs to do on each of the walls to make it a bit more interesting. We also added a chandelier in the middle here. And we kind of put this wall back a little bit and added in some room for some red nether brick to line the floor and the ceiling, and just add a little bit of extra trim and kind of expose a little bit more of the entrance to the forge, which is really, really cool. Now, as you notice, the floor, we are using cyan glass along with sandstone, and I think that this design turned out super, super cool. It looks awesome. It's a checkered pattern, but it's not your typical checkered pattern, because what you're getting is you're getting that little bit of blue from the cyan terracotta, which matches up really nicely with the warped wood, but you're also getting the sand that's below, so that is a little bit more texture, and you're getting the texture from the sides of the sandstone, so that kind of wraps it in nicely with the texture from the ceiling and the walls, because you can see a little bit of extra of that, and it just makes it look really, really cool. It also kind of makes the sandstone look a little brighter, and less rough. So if you come outside and look at the sandstone out here, you can see it looks a little bit more rough, but if you look at it next to the glass, it looks a lot shinier and smoother, which is really, really awesome. So we expanded this floor design all the way out through into this little tower area here, and we redid our entire storage room. So this is looking super sick. I love the way that this turned out. There was a lot of red and a lot of sandstone, and the smooth texture of the top of the sandstone for the floor really didn't fit in that well, I don't think, but adding in this little bit of extra bluish cyan really ties it all together. Super, super nice. So anywhere we're going to have a sandstone floor in the palace, we're going to be replacing it essentially with the blue or the cyan glass, probably except for in the bedroom. We're going to leave that the way it is. Alrighty, so let me know your guys' thoughts on the floor and the foyer, but that is going to be it for this episode, ladies and gents. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please do not hesitate to hit that thumbs up, and if you're looking forward to future episodes on the Symmetria server, then hit that subscribe button and the bell for notifications. Currently, my next goal is 750 subscribers, so anything you guys can do to help me out is much appreciated. And stay tuned for a few more tutorial videos that I have planned, and of course, live streams every Wednesday and Sunday in the evenings. I announce those on Twitter, so head over to Twitter, give me a follow if you guys want more information on when I will be streaming. Alrighty, thank you so much. I'll see you again. Bye-bye.
Yeah, we are in the place to be. Yeah, yeah, yeah.